Welcome back to Somewhere in Between. I'm Daniel. In this video today, I'm going to tell you about trackers. I'm going to tell you what they are. I'm going to tell you how you can block some or all of them. We're using trackers in the sense of usually third party code inside of an application that you download to your Android or iPhone. This third party code essentially is there to collect data either about you or about your usage or both. It can be anything from analytics, crash reporting, advertising. Those things inside of the app are collecting information about you, and sometimes it's legitimate, sometimes it's illegitimate and abused, sometimes it's both. So I'm going to link to a video by Exodus Privacy, which is one of the apps I'm going to show you to identify these trackers. I'm saying that in quotations. The reason I don't like trackers, the term trackers, is because I think some people hear that and they think, oh, that's an app my crazy ex-boyfriend installed on my phone before I left him, and it's tracking everything I do. That is not what we're talking about here. We're talking about parts of code that are inside of applications. Like, let's say you have an app called Crazy Stupid Painter, and it's an app to paint with, like drawing and painting. But inside of that app is Google Analytics, Google Advertising, Crashlytics or Firebase crash reporting. These are not associated with Crazy Stupid Painting, but they're in the application anyway. Now, this is such a complex topic that I'm not gonna go too deep into why they're there or any of that. I'm just gonna try to explain what they are, and think of it as code instructions inside of the app that collect information about you or your usage, either for legitimate or illegitimate purposes. But this is all under the surface, and it's not very transparent, and a lot of people probably have no idea that it's there or don't realize how pervasive it is from one app to the next. Anyways, so let's get into these apps that I'm going to show you to identify these trackers. Starters, I'm going to show you this breakdown from DuckDuckGo on their blog spreadprivacy.com, which will be linked down below. They analyzed all of the sites that they found trackers inside of, and this functionality is embedded within their plugins, like their add-ons for Firefox. It's also embedded within their mobile apps. The links to that is in the description also. The first site I'm going to show you is Exodus Privacy. Now, Exodus Privacy has a YouTube channel. They only have 3 videos and they're in French, but on YouTube you can get the captions. It really explains the way that mobile app development works and how these trackers are embedded in them, sometimes even without the necessary intent of the developers because of the tools they use. So they might not explicitly decide to embed Google and Facebook trackers inside of their apps, but they end up there anyways. And you can get the Exodus app on F-Droid, and there's also another one that's it uses Exodus for the scan it does of the apps, but when I use it on my Android device, I've noticed that it will identify certain apps that Exodus won't identify, like system apps or certain system apps. and I've linked Classy Shark Exodus down below also. I just like it just because it picks up the extra stuff, but they're using like basically Exodus's database like on the back end to power the app from what I can tell. But on the Exodus site you can we'll search the Reddit app, and you can see they break down the trackers inside the app, and they also break down the permissions, whether the permissions are sensitive. See, you have Apps, Flyer, Branch, Google Crashlytics, Google Firebase Analytics, Instabug, and the Android app works basically just like this, except it will by default scan a list of the apps you have installed, most of them. Now, this is an app census. Their information is a little more in depth versus just what trackers are installed in the applications. They have some kind of software, that custom software they have running on Android phones, and they install the apps and then they analyze the behavior. Let's just see Facebook Messenger. You can look at their privacy analysis, and they do update it from time to time. Now, I contacted AppSenses to ask them if it was okay to show the site on my video, and they told me they were relaunching the site at some point. Like, they told me in the next month or so, and that was probably 2 months ago. However, with the COVID-19, it probably pushed their plans back, I would assume. So anyway, this site may change, but still, I think it's still an interesting. They told me that they weren't even maintaining it anymore. Some of the site might not even work, but it's still unlike anything else. Like, see, it says, okay, this report is saying that your Android ID, device description, and it'll explain what all these are. Serial numbers, these are just different identifiers for your device. And these are just different methods to track your usage. It'll show you like IMEI serial number, Google Services ID, Advertising ID, MAC address, platform ID, like all of these identifiers, and it'll tell you also personal information, email, phone number, location, and name. And it'll tell you if they've transmitted that information to a third party or to anywhere. So yeah, I really like AppSensus. I look forward to seeing what the site looks like after they relaunch it. This next app, NetGuard, it's like a firewall, but I like it. If you download it from F-Droid, download a I forget what it's called. Like, it's a list of it can filter domains so that it can block ads for you, basically. But only the F-Droid version can do that. And I would recommend paying. I think if like the app is free, but some of the functionality is limited. But if you pay the full amount to unlock it, it's worth it, in my opinion, to do that. And you can set all these like loads of different rules, like block mobile traffic but don't block Wi-Fi on an app by app basis. Also, like, block all traffic except when your screen is on. So basically, like, if your screen is on and you're using that app, it'll let the traffic go through, but then as soon as your screen goes off, it blocks it. And this is advanced tool. Like, I wouldn't recommend using this if you don't like to tinker and you don't. Well, the first time I looked at it, it was so overwhelming. Like, I don't know, 2 years ago or something. But yeah, it's a great tool to use. But there's other tools that are a little more simpler to use, and you can block ads using a host file. I like AdGuard. They have a DNS you can use for free to just like if you want to configure your router to use their DNS to block ads on your home Wi-Fi network, you can do that. They're not based in the US, and their apps are open source. I use their iOS app. They have AdGuard and AdGuard Pro But then they also have AdGuard Premium, which is like a paid subscription for the free version of their app, which is really it's kind of difficult to understand the difference between AdGuard Pro on iOS and then the premium subscription for the free AdGuard app. But yeah, it's a thing. But AdGuard is pretty easy to use. You still have to like select what filters you want to use. But the Android app is not in the Google Play Store, and I don't think it's in F-Droid either. There is an AdGuard app in F-Droid, I think, but it's not this one. This Blockada's probably the best one, and it's as simple to use as AdGuard, probably maybe a little simpler, and you can download directly from blockada.org or from F-Droid, not on Google Play, because like they have some kind of bullshit DNS changer thingy where you could select your DNS resolver for your phone, but it's not the full, it won't block ads. And you know, the benefit of these ad blockers is they're blocking a lot of these trackers too, like the stuff that you would find on X, that is what I was showing you earlier. If you had Blockada running and all of the apps were if you had one of those apps, Blockada or AdGuard, running and configured properly, then it would block the most of the trackers. And you could go down through and look at the list of DNS queries and block individually any that got through. That's honestly the best strategy for blocking some of this. I would say don't download stuff you don't need. There's no way to like look at iOS apps in the way that we're looking at these on Android. But what I like to think is, if Facebook's Android app has 7 trackers, then it's pretty likely that they're probably present on the iOS side also. We don't know that, because I think it's harder to, just because of the nature of the way iOS is versus Android, it's harder to analyze the apps in the way they're being analyzed here, which is why they have a thing that says, what about iOS apps? Apple's DRM strictly forbid us to investigate, so we cannot say. However, the applications of both operating systems are often made by the same teams/agencies, and the trackers SDKs are often available for both platforms. The suspicions are therefore strong that the trackers of one are also in the other. I feel like that's got to be true. So as far as absolute easiest thing to use, it would be lockdown, because you just hit one button and you specify if you want to block trackers from, like here it is, like if you want to block Google and Instagram, Facebook, like it's like a list of like 20 settings, like crypto mining and a few others, and you just set that you want to block it and you turn it on and it just works. Disconnects Privacy Pro. It's really easy to configure also. It's only got like block fingerprinting, crypto mining, Google, Facebook, and then you can set them to like strict tracking or moderate blocking of the tracking. I want to thank everyone for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button, and we'll be back with another video soon. I have my new setup. I have my soft boxes. I was shooting on a ring light before, and I was having a lot of trouble with the reflection of the ring in my glasses, so I'm hoping this new setup looks better. Anyways, we'll be back soon.